David Moyes. When Sir Alex Ferguson stepped down in 2013, David Moyes was his hand-picked successor, someone who had transformed Everton into a consistent top half team with good reputation for forging unity, modest budgets, and punch above weight performances. United hoped Moyes would provide stability, continue success, and shepherd in the next era. The expectations were enormous. He inherited a club used to winning, to dictating games, to being feared, with a strong squad that included Rooney, Van Persie, Carrick, etc. Moyes started with promise, but things unraveled quickly. The style was cautious, far more conservative than Ferguson's late years. United dropped points against lesser sides, struggled in big games, and there was a visible lack of cohesion. Injuries weren't always to blame. Some blame fell on underperforming signings, on squad aging issues. Moyes lacked the status and aura that Ferguson had. His leadership during games didn't intimidate as Ferguson's did. Fans started to worry early. The chosen one label, applied with optimism, became ironic as poor results piled up. No Champions League qualification, an 8th place finish, exits from European competition in some humiliating fashion. Off the pitch, Moyes struggled to handle the pressure. Media scrutiny was intense. Some tactical decisions felt risk averse, and he was criticized for not adapting. United needed someone who could push forward, innovate. Instead, the matches under Moyes sometimes felt like retrospectives of decline. Ultimately, the fans lost faith. United's performances did not rise to the level of the club's status, and after around 10 months, Moyes was relieved of his duties. Ryan Giggs. Most football fans probably don't remember this, but Ryan Giggs, the legendary winger who had spent his entire career under Ferguson, stepped in as interim manager for the final 4 games of the 2013-14 season. His appointment was symbolic, a bridge between the glorious past and the uncertain future. Giggs brought back positivity, attacking football, and emotional nostalgia. He gave debuts to young players and reconnected with fans who had grown disillusioned. United won 2, drew 1 and lost 1. It was brief but meaningful, a reminder of what United once was. But let's face it, this appointment was not a serious one. Giggs later served as assistant to Louis van Gaal, learning the ropes, but he never again managed the first team. Louis van Gaal. After Ryan Giggs' short appointment, Manchester United turned to pedigree and experience, appointing Louis van Gaal, known for his principles, structure, focus on youth, possession, and organization. Van Gaal was seen as someone who could bring order to the chaos. He was pragmatic, but with an eye on building for longer term. The first season was bumpy, big signings, integrating many new players, some results uneven, but there were signs. Cup runs, given chances to younger players, class performances. Van Gaal's second season, however, amplified the drawbacks of his style. Matches often looked ponderous, lacking urgency. United had possession, often dominating midfield, but not always producing goals or excitement. Injuries added problems. Some new signings didn't live up to expectations. The Dutch school philosophy meant discipline, but sometimes at expense of flair. Fans yearned for more attack, more spontaneity. The FA Cup win under Van Gaal was a saving grace. It stopped the trophy drought, showed some fight, and gave fans something to celebrate. But finishing poorly in the league, failing to go deep in Europe, mixed performances, meant his tenure wasn't seen as fully successful. Van Gaal's era did bring back some stability after Moyes, but many felt United under him had become much solid but not spectacular, and thus he was fired. Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho arrived with big credentials, multiple leagues won, European trophies, a reputation for getting results. He was supposed to restore United's winning mentality, to be ruthless in the Premier League, to make them feared again. Early on, he did deliver. The Europa League in 2017, the League Cup, the Community Shield, a treble of sorts, and some tough away wins. The fans felt something had shifted. There was a grit, edge, a more pragmatic approach that got results when needed. However, Mourinho's style divided opinion. Defensive structures, counter-attacking, playing to not lose rather than to dominate, approaches that sometimes clashed with United's traditions of attacking football. Some players thrived, like Lukaku in pockets, Bailey, but others struggled under his methods or became disillusioned. There were well documented internal tensions, like with Paul Pogba, issues of confidence and morale, concerns about style over substance. By Mourinho's second season, the weight of inconsistent league results, embarrassing defeats, and a lack of clear progress in some big matches meant the honeymoon was over. The fans started to expect not just trophies but also solid performances, attacking performances. Mourinho left in late 2018 with mixed feelings from some supporters. Appreciation for silverware, but disappointment that United's domestic dominance wasn't returned, and that European progress remained elusive, at least in the Champions League. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It was Ole at the wheel time, baby. Ole started as a caretaker, beloved for what he meant to the club historically, the baby-faced assassin, the scorer of that cup final winner in '99. The appointment was emotional, fan-friendly. Many hoped Ole could restore United's DNA, attacking, bold, youth-faced, in-your-face football. At times, that worked. Some sensational comebacks, like the PSG one in the Champions League, rekindled hope. Young players like Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, etc. came through during this time. But over time, the limitations showed. Tactics were inconsistent. United often looked vulnerable in defense, fragile in matches where possession or control mattered. Big games exposed structural issues. There were periods of inconsistency where form dropped badly. Ole had moments of emotional resonance, but struggled with match-to-match consistency. The desire to play attacking football was sometimes undermined by a lack of cohesion. Despite some impressive finishes, like second place in 2020-21 season, Ole's time ended after a run of poor results, defensive collapses, high expectations, and unsatisfaction. Ralf Rangnick. Rangnick came in as interim and consultant, expected to steady the ship. His arrival seemed like a bridge, stop the bleeding caused by the Ole era, and bring in discipline, perhaps lay foundations for the next permanent manager. Early results were mixed, some positive defensive structures, some promising attacking bursts, but coherence across home and away, consistency, squad morale were still big problems. Supporters appreciated some clarity, like the fact that he said that they needed open heart surgery, but were disheartened by the continued losses, the lack of silverware, and the sense that Manchester United lacked the players to execute what he fully wanted. In sum, Rangnick's tenure felt like a transition, not failure spectacular, but also not successes sufficiently dramatic to lift the move for the next manager. He exposed how big the gap had become between United and the top Premier League or European sides in terms of squad quality, mentality, and consistency. Erik Ten Hag. Erik Ten Hag arrived with recent success from Ajax, reputation for developing young players, playing attractive, intelligent football, and controlling matches. His early period had ups and downs, some very embarrassing defeats like the 7-0 against Liverpool, but there were promising wins, and a third place finish in his first season. Fans saw glimpses of what could be: defensive structure, hunger, and occasional brilliances. United won the League Cup and FA Cup under him, showing they could still win major trophies. Over time, however, cracks began to show. Inconsistencies in league performances, defensive fragility, poor results against lesser opponents, occasional low points in Europe, And domestically, injuries, transfer misfires, squad depth issues all played a role. Also, expectations at United demanded more than occasional cups. It demanded challenges for the league, challenges for the UCL, challenges for the very top prizes. But by late 2024, the criticism had mounted. The club's trajectory wasn't convincing enough. Some games were just so uninspiring. Fans didn't always see the necessary adaptability, and eventually, Ten Hag was relieved of his duties in October 2024. They stuck with him, tried to make it work, but after 3 years, it was just too much. Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim came in amid high expectations and intense scrutiny. His arrival was seen as a hopeful reset, part of what many call Project 150, the ambition for United to win their 21st league title by the club's 150th anniversary. From his first match, Amorim showed boldness. He kept his preferred 3-4-3 system, insisted on detail, structure, high pressing, and attacking transitions. In his early results, there were notable positives: a big win over Everton, a derby win in the last minute against Manchester City, some strong performances in the Europa League, and fans hoped that this was a start of a more coherent identity. But his tenure, at least now, has also seen a lot of serious challenges. Poor runs of form, inconsistency, a horrible Premier League season, some games where United looked nervous or hesitant. They even lost the Europa League's final to Spurs. It was all just too horrible. But Amorim kept his job. Amorim himself has admitted that players are sometimes too afraid on the pitch. Losses in competitions they should be more competitive in has added that pressure. They should have defeated Grimsby Town in the EFL Cup, but that was a big loss. Also, squad adaptation has been uneven. Some players have fit well, others seem miscast in his system or out of form, like Kobe Menu. Off the pitch, there is tension, high expectations, media scrutiny, comparisons to former managers. Amorim has resisted suggestions to change his system or philosophy, stating he won't abandon his approach. The board and captain Bruno Fernandes have shown positive support, but results remain key. So far, his legacy is still being written. Amorim has shown ambition, clarity of style, and some early signs of improvement with the past two matches, but whether he can deliver sustained consistency, title challenges, bring Manchester United back to Europe, and restore them to the level that fans expect remains uncertain. But Amorim is trying to be the manager who provides both identity and stability, and only time can tell if he would be the last manager for a while on this list, or there will be many more to continue.